Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Alright. I'm trying to send an email out, but for some reason it wasn't working anymore.
I had tried to set up something on Zoom today and it was pardon the expression.
Oh no, today was a disaster. It was a fairly wide distributed denial of service attack that took a bunch of services down today.
Yeah, well, what annoys me is I get you send out a convocation and half the people get it, half the people don't, and then you know, some people can log on, some people can't.
Mm-hmm.
We have a spare pen. I don't. It's like Patty's going to my rescue. Patty to the rescue.
Patty to the rescue.
I decided not to bring my phone. The huge person.
I had the station. That's where you go and check all the vehicles and part of that. I'm not real good at that, but I get Walt to come in. He does the pumps, which very true to do, and I went back home. Check the ambulance. Nose tubes. Blow tires. That's my contribution.
There you go. So Walt's doing it now?
Yeah. Yeah. He's very deep. Has to be very careful. Yeah.
That's to do that. Scope of project to do it. And you want to look at that?
No.
Yeah, I'm good training. I want to get Pfizer signed up today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna call the health department and see where the.
Yeah, they only do like 30 people on Thursday.
Mm-hmm. And I'll open it up there by 65 and open. 12 plus. Huh.
As long as you have your 6 months behind you.
Yeah. Yeah.
morning.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good yourself?
Good.
How's your drive?
Terrible. Terrible. Rainy. Good to meet you. I'm Dave. I haven't met yet, but
Yeah.
good to meet you. Nice to meet you. Good.
Can I borrow one of your pens? I have mine out in the car.
I got some of that.
Okay, if it doesn't work, let me know.
You work with me all the time.
Ooh, look at that.
Ew. Chip it. Oh God, it's gonna fall back.
No, it's dead. I hit it, it's dead.
I'm out of here if it falls with my leg. Yeah.
It's not gonna survive the. It's gonna survive the whatchamacallit.
Anybody?
Hi there. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
This? Still driving a motorcycle?
Not many days left.
That's the motorcycle. All meeting in order.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Opening the meeting to the public. Dave?
Is that me?
Yep. Or and anyone else from the public.
Want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. Got a lot of stuff to tell you about. So, it's exciting stuff, and looking forward to getting here. Thanks for having me. So, let's get to it. So, to start, I wanted to give an update on the group, the 2CRSI group. That's our anchor, it's our first grade tenant. We're super excited, the way things have been progressing with them. As you guys have seen, a lot of activity there, they're going through the site, it was really very, very much of a mess, but they're getting through it, they're just doing an assessment of everything that's was taken out, yeah.
I don't wanna interrupt you.
Sure.
Could you just tell everybody your name, because we have new people here?
I'm sorry.
And who you are.
I'm sorry. My name's David Groitz, and I'm one of the partners at ERS Investments, and we have purchased a while back the old fiber site, and we tore most of it down. We kept a couple great buildings, and we're trying now to get new companies to come into Rouses Point and really make a difference to the village. So we have an initial tenant that we're very excited about. They're out of France. They're called 2CRSI. And they do a lot of high-tech manufacturing of computer servers, equipment. They operate data centers. And they are in the process of making Rouses Point their US headquarters. So I wanted to start and just give you a little bit of update on them. They have been very successful in the past year, and it's exciting to us because with them coming to the US, Rouses Point being their spot that they picked, I just feel really fortunate because there's a lot of notoriety that's coming with these guys. And when we first started, I really believe that if we could get someone of this caliber of company, other people would follow. And that's what's really playing out, and what I want to share with you a lot of that tonight. They said, they put out a company outlook, to the shareholders. The 2CRSI is seeing continuation of positive sales momentum observed in the second half of 2021 is going forward with its investments for future growth, both increasing the group's production capacity and strengthening the offering of green computing power and the group's presence in the United States. So that's their mission statement. I mean, their movement to the U.S. is up front and center. You know, we're really excited about it. And you know, to anybody that isn't really familiar with the data center space, so they do a lot of things, but the data center space it's what it sounds like. I mean, it's data coming in, data going out, data coming in and maybe being redirected. So, for example, if they have, which they do, a trading firm as one of their clients, the trade would maybe come from New York City into the facility in Rouses Point, and then would then travel out maybe to California to the person that actually put the trade in. So the space is important because of all firms, all companies have some form of a data center that helps them run their business on a daily. It keeps them, you know, all of their executives and employees, they go into the data center to get the information that they need to do their jobs. And there's like 7 million data centers in the world, right? So they're not unique, but they're a very necessary part of business. And what they've done, this group is so forward thinking that they're getting a lot of international accolades and recognition, that I thought I would share some of them just to show you the quality of the tenant that we're relying on to start the redevelopment. Now they're not all of it. I mean, they're just the start. This is just the first firm that's coming here that I think, and I think I can show you tonight, of what's going to follow behind them. You know, once we get the seed planted. So for example, 2CRSI and BNP Paribas have teamed up for energy efficiency and carbon footprint reduction. The bank, this is the largest bank in the world outside of China, is BNP Paribas. They're gigantic. But the bank has invested with 2CRSI for new, more efficient 2CRSI server solutions that recycles heat generated by the servers. So this bank has chosen our 2CRSI to redo all of the servers because of their technology is so far advanced, which is pretty cool. 2CRSI announces it has been selected by the European High Commission to contribute to design and building a European sovereign high-performance computing solution. This is for all of Europe. They've been picked. They have joined with a group called Submer, S-U-B-M-E-R, and presented the partnership to save and their joint solution to revolutionize the world of IT when it comes to energy savings for data centers. They have gotten awarded a contract in the oil and gas sector to design and manufacture high-performance, energy-efficient IT server solutions. The customer is a global geoscience technology leader who requires proprietary advanced technology. And it just goes on and on. They're partners with Intel, AMD, NVIDIA, Western Digital, and Samsung are just a few of them. So I just want to impress upon you guys that this is who we wanted. This is who we wanted to get here to really be the economic driver of what we wanna do with the site. And they're coming, and they're excited to be in Rouses Point. And I'm really excited to have them here. Now, a couple things that, like the newspaper article that just came out, this is an example of what happens when you have a leader in a field, and then they start, having conversations with other types of firms in the technology space. You know, things happen. You know, when really smart people get together, they come up with some really smart stuff, right? You know, way beyond what I can imagine, but, you know, as a landlord, that's who I want in my building. You know, I want those kinds of people in there, because that generates jobs, and it generates, you know, high-paying jobs, good jobs, and sustainable jobs. You know, companies that are going to be successful for a long time, and that's what we look for. You know, when we're looking for the right groups to come here. So this RPNY is an example of that. This is a group of investors that are in the technology space. They got together with 2 CRSI, and they came up with, and they have invested in these trailers. Now the trailer, it's a data center trailer, and it's big. It's, you know, 40 feet by 20 feet, and they're going to manufacture them here. Okay, they're going to start it. I think they have maybe 4 orders, but the orders are going to go from 4 to 8 to 16, because the trailer is a mobile data center. So 2CRSI will make the servers, and this group is going to put them into a 1 megawatt trailer that is then eventually going to be tested, you know, for a specific client, and then it will be put on a semi, and then it's going to be taken to wherever, in Iowa or Nebraska, or whoever has a specific use for this type of technology. They're just going to ship them out the door. So for us, it's great because it's manufacturing. So manufacturing needs people, and expansion, and new buildings, and more trailers. So they're coming. They've signed a lease. They're going to start as soon as the building's ready. They'll start moving stuff in. One thing I wanted to mention, the 2CRSI is apologized for not properly handling the permit for the louvers on the side of the building. So, John, they've assured me this week that you'll get the proper paperwork.
You said that, and I'm glad to hear that, because, you know, we inquired about it before and there was no answer, so.
Yeah.
And the people up there are not familiar with what's going on anyway, so.
Yeah, and they should have done a better job, and I wasn't aware of it, that it was gonna happen, so it'll be taken care of. And to that end, more good news that I think you'll find interesting. I don't know if anybody knows who Harry Chuthin is. I don't know if that name rings a bell. Harry is another very smart person. He is a CEO and the owner of Convolt Energy. And he actually has a few different companies, but Harry is now on board with our project, and he's been on site for the last few days. And he's on the team. But what's interesting about Harry, why I think that we're going to be very happy to have him, you know, involved with us, and you guys will. He has started a solar. He does solar panels is one of the things he does. And he is building a plant in Watertown, New York. And what's interesting about this is I'll just give you a quote from David Zembiak, who's the Jefferson County Economic Development CEO. Harry is transformational for the county and the region. his energy plans in Waterton, he's starting with 20,000 square feet, is going to employ 165 people. But he is forecasting plans to expand to 500,000 square feet and 525 people within 5 years. He's the founder and chairman and CEO of ACO Investment Group, which is Convolt Energy's parent company. ACO is an alternative investment manager and a private equity firm that focuses on investing in the energy, power, information technology, e-commerce, telecommunications, transportation, and logistics sectors. North Country Public Radio says Jefferson County is on to one of the biggest job creation projects in the North Country in decades. So, you know, that's big. And Harry's involved. Harry wanted to come tonight. I told him that I would certainly welcome him to come to the next meeting, so he can introduce himself to you guys. But he will be taking over the project, for the 2CRSI side, finishing off the stuff they need to do. So he will be in charge of the permitting and making sure that everything's done. All the permits are filed on time, and anything that needs to be done. Yeah. So he'll be coming in to see you guys, to meet you, to the board, so you guys, you know, will get to know him, because, you know, Poisson retired, right? So John was our guy. We all loved John because he was so buttoned up. So, and as you probably know, it's been difficult with the high skilled trades, or you can't even get an electrician, right? So, Harry's here. He's bringing his own crew. He's gonna come in and talk to you guys. He's very, very well respected in the community. And so you guys can certainly get a hold of the folks at Waterton and you know, and inquire about him if you want. Let me give you his last name. His first name is Harry, H-A-R-I. Last name is A-C-H-U-T-H-A-N. So I encourage you to look him up. You'll see the quality of the guy that is going to be very involved with us moving forward. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, a couple other things which are interesting, which kind of follow in the vein of the economic driver of 2CRSI, bringing other people attracting other people to the village. We're actually in discussions with a microchip manufacturing company. They're interested in Rouses Point. We're down to 4 people. They're considering 4 places. We're in the running because, and we were on the phone with them today, they would love to be next door to 2CRSI. That's why they're considering us. But if that were to happen, it would be national news. So it's still going to be a tough thing for us to get them here, but we're down to the final 4, so that's pretty cool. We're very interested in the warehousing. Thursday we have a group coming up that I don't want to tell you who it is yet. They haven't given me permission to release their name, but you'll know them. They want 60,000 square feet, and there would probably be 25 to 30 employees coming with them. That would be a pretty immediate thing. Obviously, the warehousing space up there is great, so we would love to have it. And they do manufacturing too, so it would be a combination of some manufacturing, which, you know, really starts to round out, you know, the tenant base, because, you know, obviously we don't want to be in one industry. You know, we don't want a Pfizer giant to leave us again, leave us with nothing, right, basically. So we're really trying to get a variety of industry, good companies, sustainable, long-term growth projections that make sense, that, you know, if something happened to one of them, it's not devastating to us, right? So those are a couple other firms that are we're in process that seem to be pretty, pretty close to being, to a decision point at least, right? So, the next thing I was gonna talk to you about is the power. We have done, I know that, our SED's been very helpful. Susan, we're gonna miss you wherever you are. She was very, very helpful to us. And we gathered thousands of pages of information on the power. And spent thousands of dollars, frankly, to put this together with a power expert. And he went through, we had a little confusion last time we talked about power. So, we wanted to do this because we wanna have really, really super good data. We wanna know where we're going. We wanna know what kind of different things we can get. We want more hydropower. We know we can get more hydropower. What does that mean for us if we get more hydropower? So we did, we went to the, of course, we did 5 years of bills from NIPA, from NIPA. We did all the purchase power statements. We did all the recent billing history of the site. We went through the tariffs. We went through the NIPA agreements with a fine tooth comb. We went through the NIPA agreements with a fine tooth comb. And we developed a model. And we have a whole bunch of different suggestions of things that we might be able to do as a group, or you guys can do. You have access to all of our information and all of our data. And the guy, J.B. Sauer, who actually put this together, he's out of Houston. He's available to us. He'll fly up here if we want to have this conversation. We can do it in any kind of setting that you want to do it in. But he knows, he really, really knows the power. He knows the agreements, the NIPA agreement. He's got strong feelings on that agreement by itself. I mean, is it a good agreement for the village, or is it not a good agreement for the village? Could we do better than that if we wanted to go out and talk about something like that? It's maybe something that you would want to consider, would it? But he has a lot of great opinions on the power. And he's certainly available to us. He knows obviously way more than I do. But we do have him available. But just as I just want to mention one thing on the rate tables of the conclusions on the research. So for the residential customer, if we go from where we are today, and we draw 5 megawatts at the site up at Rouses Point, the ratepayer price will go up 0.004 kilowatts. It's a quarter of a penny at 5 megawatts. If you go to 10 megawatts, it goes to a half of a penny per kilowatt. So it's not a lot, right? Certainly, if you do a comparison to what the rates were when Pfizer was running, it's pennies, right? But what's interesting is if we get an additional 5 megawatts of hydropower, right, because of our work here, when we go to 5 megawatts, it goes up 0. If we go to 10 megawatts, it goes to, again, a 40% of a penny, less than a half a cent, right? So I had this graph, just so maybe you can, just to help show you this is at 5 megawatts. Okay, so you can see the blue is hydro, right? And then you dip into the supplemental power at certain times of the year. But this is still, this is still pennies, but it shows you, what happens when you go to 5 megawatts, right? But if you take this is at 10 megawatts. You see, they're almost identical. I'm using twice as much power, but now on this graph, I have gotten our additional 5 megawatts of hydropower. Right? So it gives you a visual of why we work together to get it, right? We've talked to them, it's there, they've offered it, and they've sent us the application to fill it out. So we just have to, you know, it's a tenant-based thing, so we have to, right, it's a tenant, and so we have to get the tenant to a block. We get in 5 days, and it's not, that's not the end of the road. I mean, we have the ability, once we start showing progress at the site, you know, we have really good support from Gary Douglas. As you know, Gary's got really good support in Albany, in Washington DC. He's there for us, so we can, as a group, we could really go after, we can try to get more hydropower allocation based on the progress that we're making on site. So, that's my comments on the power, and that's kind of the end of my update. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them. Yeah. Timeline is quick. I mean, we're making progress, quick, and I would expect, they're making plans to bring in, infrastructure and all the stuff we need to turn the lights on and start the customers coming. I'd say by the end of the year, we should have significant progress. By the end of the year and early next year, it's gonna magnify. I would suspect that we'll be building trailers first quarter. Probably be building, shipping them out first quarter, is my guess. But that's a great question. I'll try to get, maybe I can get a little bit, you know, more detail on timelines and send it to you in an email.
Can you email us the conclusion of the research for the power?
Yes, I can do that. We have to do that.
And say if you use 5 or 10 megawatts, how many jobs would that be roughly? If we get, when we get to that point?
I'd say that you're probably looking at over 40 jobs. You're probably looking at 40 jobs, I'd say. Maybe 60 jobs, somewhere in there.
Would this just be one tenant? Or is it like different tenants having 60 jobs each?
Oh, it's everybody. It's everybody. It's all the tenants. You know, see, so if we started building if the trailers increase from 2 to 4, you're probably going from 10 to 15 jobs, to 20 jobs. You know, any of these businesses with a successful rollout, you're doubling jobs every time. Every expansion, you're going to be doubling jobs.
It's not going to be a lot of footprint in terms of space for each one.
As far as
would they all fit in the same building?
Yeah. Now we do have, you know, if we need to expand quickly, we have investigated the General Steel's got a really nice a steel building that we're ready on that whole thing. If that were to happen, we have to expand quickly. We can get that done.
I'm kind of wondering how you feed 10 megawatts into that one building.
That's a good question. That's a little above my pay grade, but I can get you the schematics of how it's gonna work. It's not as hard as you think, I don't think.
Probably not.
Yeah.
How's it going with 2CRSI moving in?
They were here last week, so they're making plans to move quickly. You know, as soon as everything is in order. There's still a lot of stuff to put in there, right? So
And they don't make their own chips though?
they don't make the chips. They use outside chips in manufacture the server itself.
So they order the computer, the cases, the chipsets and everything, and assemble everything on site?
Exactly. It's you know, super high tech. There's gonna be cranes that put servers into. They're really known for their ingenuity in being green, right? So they have immersion tanks that things get put in under some kind of a special liquid. So it's very, very fascinating. It's very high tech.
If you did get the chip company, would you have to build a new building for that?
We would immediately start a new build. It would be 200,000 square feet. So we have we're kinda on the ready if that were to happen. We would start immediately. It wouldn't be, they go up pretty quick once you have the base down. You're shipping metal and engineers and, yeah.
Is that chip plant manufacturing gonna be interesting for them, that's a new process?
Yeah, that would be a dream come true, right there. For sure.
Fireworks going off.
It's my vehicle, sorry.
Thank you for checking that, Arsen.
No, it's
No.
all going.
You did that on purpose.
Now, these steel buildings, would you put them right on the same footprint as what Wyeth is on?
I think so. The slabs are, the slabs are so first class and thick, and I think they would probably go right on there.
I'd say they put it on.
That would for sure.
Any questions?
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Thanks for giving us the update. Any other public comments? Okay. Minutes of previous meeting. We have a few minutes. Any questions or concerns about the minutes of the previous meeting?
Make a motion to be accepted as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes of the special meeting about the electrical system. Any questions or concerns about these minutes?
Make a motion to accept those minutes also.
All in favor? Oh, wait, second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes of the previous special meeting about the engineering plans for the new water treatment plant.
Make a motion to accept it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bills. Any additions to the bills, Arsen?
We don't have no additions or deletions tonight.
Any questions?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
I just wanna make a note here real quick. The 570 for the tire repair, that one tire broke one day, because apparently the tube turned inside, and then the other day another one broke. They're two separate charges, not one being charged twice. We had a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any correspondence today?
You have Susan's letter of resignation. I'd like to make a motion that we accept Susan Sullivan's resignation as clerk administrator.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would also, I guess, yeah, I can wait till my.
Okay. Resolution 2021-23, 2022 elections, polling place hours. The polling place for the next elections will take place in the Halsted Hall again. Any questions about the resolution? I make a motion to pass the resolution in a roll call vote.
Second.
Okay. Trustee Arno,
Aye.
trustee Menard,
Aye.
trustee Pelkey,
Aye.
trustee Rodriguez,
Aye.
mayor votes aye. Okay, the next resolution, 2021-24, is to close the DASNY grant. This stems from the water plant upgrades in 2017, and some of the money was put into the planning and design for for the new water plant we're working on, but we have expended everything in the grant. So I make a motion with this resolution here to close the Dasney plant grant.
I'll second it.
Trustee Menard,
Aye.
trustee Arno,
Aye.
trustee Pelkey,
Aye.
trustee Rodriguez,
Aye.
mayor votes aye. Okay. New York State Trooper report, they just sent this to us. To obtain a New York State Trooper report, you can go to troopers.ny.gov. At the bottom of the page is a button, select press room, and on the left side, select Troop B, Ray Brooks. Then in the center, click the date on the Zone 1 line. This will open the blotter report for all the calls in Zone 1 for that date. You can scroll through to see Rouses Point's calls. If you need more information on a particular call, contact Sergeant Jenkins at 518-563-3761. And that way, people can get reports at any time. Champlain EMS contract.
Did you skip the proposal for recloser setting files?
Oh, yes, I did skip that.
I don't know if you did not.
Oh, no, I just, I saw New York State Troopers report. So we've got the proposal here for recloser setting files. The laptop and equipment we had was not able to pull the data. So this is a proposal that we got to have a company come in and pull the data for us.
Was this company recommended through PLM? Nuremberg?
Not off the top of my head.
Can we check with them?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that when I saw this, so I didn't know if this is someone that they recommended or what. But
We would need a second quote also.
we're also gonna have to look into replacing that laptop.
But I don't think it's a problem with the laptop, I think it's a problem with the program that's in the laptop. I mean, I think we're missing the program for the recloser.
No, the problem wasn't, the program's on the laptop. The problem was getting the laptop to communicate with the enclosures. Because we got the connection system, the connection that the old engineer was using, which was a long string of different things plugged into each other. So we couldn't get it to communicate between the two. So that's the problem that we ran into. With the cobbled together connection string, whatever the heck that was, and the old laptop which barely boots anyway. We're gonna have to look at getting a new laptop and cable connection so we can have a good connection, you know? That thing's still running Windows XP.
Well, isn't that the reason why we consulted PLM?
That's one of the reasons we need to update that system.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna contact PLM, make sure that this is someone they recommended.
Or if they can do it themselves.
Or PLM can do it. Okay. Champlain EMS contract. The amount for this year will be $131,000. Which we knew was going to increase a bit. Because we got the 3-year from them.
Did you have a chance to go through the contract, Tom?
Yeah, I did, and I noticed like last year's contract, the amount that we paid was $93,000.
Right.
So it went up to 131. I noticed one of the things that seemed to be different, or that seemed to be added, and you know, I guess enlighten me, but it did say that there'd be staffing an ALS provider at the Rouses Point Fire Station, which I don't think they had previous.
On the weekend.
No, yes, we're adding the weekend.
We had a year free that they gave us, because of the billing cycle.
Right.
So now it's catching up to us where we're gonna have to pay if we want to continue having this service.
Okay. And that certainly was the big difference with the two contracts. Right. Generally speaking, the terminology in both contracts are exactly the same, other than obviously the pretty substantial increase in cost, which maybe is justifiable based upon that service, but again, I can't tell you that it is or it's not. I mean, I just know that was the big difference between the two contracts that I looked at was that one difference as well as the cost.
Yeah.
If the value was there for that, then I'd say, oh, then that's probably justifiable. I'm probably not in a position to say that is or is not, but that's the one gleaming difference. Yeah, everything else was pretty much almost exactly the same.
Yeah. For a year, we had those people on staff at the fire department for free, and it seemed to have worked out very nicely in making sure that we had full coverage in the village.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the cost difference.
The question I had is on paragraph 3. It'd be on the 3rd page, section B. The language of section B, I don't understand where to the non-billing,
Yeah, in the other contract it said 928,360, this one says 978,700.
so if they collect that, do we get money back? That's my question.
If they collect over 978,700, so if they collect,
Yeah,
say,
it does say that.
It does say that
We get money back.
It should the amount of billing revenue collected during the contract year exceed 978,700, the excess billing revenue shall be remitted to the village.
Is that clause in the old contract?
Yes. Same language, except that number was 928,360. And the same language about villages hereby relieved from the obligation to pay more than the 131, again, the prior contract was 93.
Right.
So the same language, the language is carried over, just the numbers are different.
I hope they don't collect over that, because that means a lot of people want to use it. So, yeah.
Cost of doing business, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the difference to it, I guess, is the presence here in the village, that's a viable number, then obviously.
And that worked out fairly well.
I'll put this in a form of motion to have the mayor sign the contract. Can't find the amount.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I request an executive session discussing investigation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I request an executive session to talk about the employment history of a specific employee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, trustee Arno?
Did you ever talk to Ethan about mowing the grass behind the village property on the lake?
No, I thought that was gonna be someone else, I thought you.
Oh. Okay. What about the trees on the lake shore? Have you trimmed and stuff like that? Or pulled up this year or next year?
We talked about the trees behind the village office.
Behind the village office and down by the,
We cut down those earlier this year, and they're just gonna keep growing back because of the root systems.
well, if you pull them out, they won't go back.
And what are the other trees?
The ones down by the gazebo
Oh, the gazebo.
on the lake shore.
No, I haven't gone to talk to anybody about that, I've been busy a couple weeks.
Okay, and John about welding that
Yes, I have spoken with John about welding the railings.
Really?
I went out there, took photos, brought them back to him, showed him them. Whenever he has time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's, something like 7 breaks.
There was quite a few.
Yeah.
The only thing, I'd like to ask Pat a question on the hometown heroes thing. The poles in the downtown section, are you gonna put the flags or whatever you wanna call them, flags or?
The banners?
The banners on them poles too?
There's this, section of downtown that's excluded from the banners, and then, it's a large question mark as to how many applications we'll get. Charlene is going to start advertising the availability of the applications, and the applications will be online at the village office, at the library, and at the Legion, and it kind of depends on what's the demand. Once the demand is identified, then,
Well, the thing with it is, the poles in the downtown section, the business section, they're only 13 feet high.
yeah, I do not believe they're going in the downtown section, Ben,
Okay.
but I have to tell you that off the top of my head,
Yeah.
I won't put my hand in the fire, not sure. But I believe that there is a limitation because of the issue you're mentioning, the kind of historic poles as
Well,
opposed
not only that, the banners are 5 foot long and the poles are only 13
to.
feet.
Right,
So it wouldn't,
wouldn't look right.
They'd interfere with traffic.
yeah.
Park.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Menard?
The first thing is, I'd like to thank the village employees, they did a nice job on the sidewalk out here. It was very good and connect everything really well. And my second thing tonight was, I'd like to make a motion to have the clerk, advertise for a new administrator.
Favor?
Aye.
Are we separating the clerk and administrator jobs?
I would say not, no. Administrator, that's slash clerk. Not really worried about that. Administrator clerk.
It's been a long time since that was separated.
Yeah, so, maybe I'll say that. And that's all I have for this evening.
Advertise that. Trustee Pelkey?
Yes, Thursday, myself and our son, we had a meeting with Dietmeyer. He is our brokerage for our health insurance, and he's working very hard to keep our rates low. So we have a proposal that, we're working with. We're gonna try to get copies to everybody so the union can get their blessing, so we can possibly change it for January 1st, and save the village and the union employees a lot of money for what they're paying. So, it's like fire insurance, you gotta switch around every few years. After a while, the rates keep going up, so that was a good meeting on Thursday. I give you the proposal from PLM. It is, a system study and a long-range capital plan. Now, the proposal is pretty intense. I haven't heard nothing back from the electric department. This was sent to me from PLM themselves. The proposal is $39,400. Unfortunately, we don't have that much money budgeted for this project. So I'd like to go back and meet with the electric department, or have the mayor help me with them, and try to downscale, the scope of the project. So we can just get the necessities that we need this year, and then we can budget for next year.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, would all that work be done this year? Where would we need that much work?
Yeah, I split that work up across 2 years.
With that.
If we could split that work up across 2
Right,
years.
that's what I was thinking, because we're gonna be using them for other, projects also. Like, there's some tariff questions, it's a good, company that if
we have billing questions, we can go through them, and they're supposed to help us with direction. Yeah, that's why we're having our own engineer on staff that if we have a question.
If they need something, or with our substation or whatever, they could help.
With that,
They're more on call.
Right.
well, they're gonna be, right, they're gonna be on call, we're gonna have a contract with them where.
Similar like we had with the last gentleman who passed away.
Right, with Kurt Wilson.
Yeah, the person we call with your questions, or issues that come up.
Except this time, instead of being an individual, it's an actual company, so if they
Yeah.
retire or, God forbid, die again.
We'll always have somebody.
Yeah.
Another project I was working on, the last meeting, I said I would get a hold of Kimberly Davis from, Clinton County Treasurer, and she sent me guidelines on property maintenance and what we are able to do. So, I have a copy for you also, and for Don, and, I just got them today, so she was very helpful with property maintenance that we're looking into, especially on Chapman Street, in other areas. She gives us a good guideline, so. Good information, that, we had a nice talk and very helpful.
Unfortunately, similar to when we had the whole Holland situation, you know, the county now does not reimburse villages, towns, whatever, for demolishing, the crossing bridges, demolishing buildings and things of that nature. I don't think,
Well, there's a dollar amount.
they can set that.
Yeah, that's why they give you the guidelines of, like if you have property maintenance with just trash, but there's also a section in here that has property maintenance on demolition and clean up of burnt buildings. So, I mean, the scale of what the Holland was, that'll probably never happen again, where they don't wanna part of it.
Right.
There's a piece of property on Champlain Street that everybody keeps asking about, the county pretty much washed their hands of it, not even on the tax roll anymore, so.
Right, there's some properties in Clinton County, in my experience, that even if they come up for taxes, the county doesn't even wanna take them
They don't even want
because of perhaps,
Contamination.
environmental issues and things like that, because if the county takes it back and owns it for one day, before it goes out in a tax sale, guess what, the county then is on the hook for some of that environmental cleanup.
That's
So they,
exactly what she explained to me
so they
today.
do not, I mean, I can think of at least 2 or 3 off the top of my head that are like that the county is not even gonna touch.
Especially these large commercial buildings, they don't want a part of it.
Is there,
Abandoned gas stations, that
Yeah.
they know that they know there's contamination, that's another issue.
Tom, is there any way that we could start fining this gentleman for not cleaning it up, not doing any?
Now,
Well, again, we have
I've
to,
already sent him the letters at the end of the month, he either starts cleaning up or he's going to court on a daily, we can find him on a daily basis. He's been advised of it.
and one of the things, I
You
mean,
send him a registered letter, looks like that's what you need.
I didn't send him a
We've done
registered
that,
one, but
But I've done that a couple times too. So the next step is I've actually drafted like a complaint or a typical violation forms that we have to use. And I just have to talk to John, get details in there, and then file it, serve them, and go from there. But I have a draft of the violations for not only that property, but some of these other ones.
Yeah.
At least we have a direction that we can go in. I mean, people keep asking the questions and we need to
Yeah,
have the answers.
It's been way too long.
Yeah, definitely.
No question.
This week, everybody knows it's Fire Prevention Week. Friday, you'll see the fire department, the members of us that are gonna be at the school for all day, helping the kids out, showing them all about Fire Prevention Week. So if you see the fire trucks at the elementary school, just running up there, helping out the kids, doing a little training, so. And I need an executive session to talk about the employment history of a particular person.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's all I have.
Trustee Rodriguez?
First, I'd like to thank Dave for coming out, giving us an update and everything. Very nice. The fall cleanup days for the village are gonna be October 25th to the 29th. There'll be no more pickups after this date. Residents are reminded that the collection is for pickup of bagged leaves, shrubs, and tree limbs less than 3 inches in diameter only. There'll be no pickup of paint cans, tires, stumps, waste oil, cement, or wood. Residents are requested to bag all leaves in clear bags, only to place them on the curbside, not behind parked cars or anything like that, so the crews can pick them up. That's all I got today.
Okay.
I had one other thing on the CPR training for the rec center and the electric crew. They've done that in July. And I can talk to Shannon and see who attended and stuff like that if you want me to, or whatever.
I wasn't particularly worried about attendance, but okay.
Oh, okay, all right, well, so somebody said that you wanted the attendance sheet, who attended?
Oh, no, that was, I wanted to make sure the attendance for other training, and I got that attendance sheet.
Oh, okay,
I was able to I'll find it in the file.
all right, so we're all certified?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Other reports. I spoke with, Dan Steck last week at a convention. He's gonna be coming up in the next month or so. He's trying to set it up so that there's an entire day he can tour Rouses Point, see our facilities, everything else, for the water plant, for the sewer plant. There's not a lot for the electric tours, for the electric department, so public works garage. Take him around, show him some stuff. Okay, any other reports, Arsen?
I'd like to report that we received our third quarter distribution of sales tax revenue today in the amount of $66,277.27. I didn't get a chance to compare it to last year at this time, but I can let you know about that. Also, too, I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to attend the fall training school sponsored by NICOM, the State Controller's Office. As always, it was nice to go and network with our fellow colleagues and get to find out the new regulations and stuff. And say it was after a couple year absence, it was nice to get back in the swing of things. That's all I have.
66,000.
$277.27.
Thank you for the Department of Review's report.
Yeah.
Where the money went.
Any other reports? Do you have anything, Cooper?
No, just that I've been dealing with David. We're trying to bring our actions up to date on that building up there.
Open meeting with the public again? Any public comments? Motion to go into a short recess for executive, so we can go to executive. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Yep, your turn.
Here's your pen back, sir.
Give him the 30 days to begin.
Yes, it should have been sent over. Okay, Julie was supposed to send that over, we had it, if you want, let me double check with her. Let me. Oh, I see.
What's that?
Okay.
I'm catching before he leaves,
So let me,
get the SD card
let
on
me
here.
reach out to Julie tomorrow.
Okay, big thing.
And let me double check that the resolution was sent. As far as I know, it was sent, but again, that's what I think is the case, but I will
Okay.
confirm.
Okay.
And then let me just, cause I think in the next